Writing can be hard to make something that will be consumed by a wide array of people. With Digimon's first lengthy web novel, Digimon Seekers, now at its end, outside of a possible epilogue chapter we might be getting at DigimonCon, it's time to look at what it is we actually got. Today I want to focus especially on the ending of the series. With everything coming together, there were certainly some twists and turns that came to us in Chapter 4 that made it quite the wild ride. As such, beware there will be major spoilers ahead for the ending of Digimon Seekers. Here, we will dive into the plans of the different characters in the ending, and how they made a crazy twisty ending, but how well did it actually work out? So, there's two main characters that I want to talk about when talking about their plan for the ending. There are other characters that were obviously involved in the ending, like Eiji and Yulin, but their plans seemed mostly fairly straightforward and simple, compared to what these others had planned. So first let's look into one of the major ones that was coming into this chapter, Tartarus. And his plan, we knew what he was after. He was after Saya. We knew that from Chapter 3. He was after the Black Agumon, and we knew he would do anything to get that to rescue his fiancée. So, let's look at going into this final confrontation at the gate. What he still needed to have happen, and had no necessarily way to ensure were going to happen when they went there, and seemed to be going all in on something that really wasn't for sure. The number one thing is he knew that he needed Lugumon to reach Ultimate or Perfect, and technically he still hadn't. Well, he had with Helugramon, but apparently that didn't count. So his entire plan was revolving around Eiji being able to reach Ultimate. And he really only did that by fighting a couple of champions. There was really absolutely nothing about this battle that made sure that he would be able to reach the ultimate level.
Not a great plan.
I mean, many people sometimes are scared after Tai first reached Skullgravemon, they're just scared to digivolve at all. So sometimes it is very difficult for someone to digivolve again after a traumatizing experience like that. Of course, luckily for him, it works out, but it was an extremely risky maneuver to not have the keys ready when he triggered his plan. And, on top of that, he must have defeated Auriemon with no one really there to help him. Everybody else was out controlling all the rest of the battlefield, trying to keep the small minions of the Gatekeeper and the Digipolice at bay. So he had to fight someone who came into Digimon at the same time as him, could reach Mega Level just like him, and somehow know that he could win. Especially because, I mean, it's not stated as such. He does have the type advantage of data over vaccine, so maybe that is part of what he, decided to think his plan would work out in his favor. I mean, they say something about it's his conviction, because he is truly willing to give everything to save Saya, and Yulin's not as big into it. And while doing all of this, even if all of that goes to plan, and he can start to hack into the gate, they have to avoid the Gatekeeper. No one can stand up to Omnimon X that comes out of there. I mean, they have a Chaos Dramon and later a Brigadramon that are trying to at least do something against him and barely can do anything. So he is a sitting duck with 3 rookies who are a sitting duck and have to not catch this Gatekeeper's ire and just get blown away in a single attack. Okay, alright. It's not like you at least had some barrier around him or something. Not even that. And then he's using this to enter into a realm, which it seems like he seemed to know a little bit about this primordial realm. How? This is the early beginnings of people really knowing that much about Digimon, that they hadn't even been able to get into the proper Digimon world yet. So no one had been beyond this gate to tell anything about it. At least not into this primordial realm. Maybe the original Operation Tartarus got in there a little bit, but they had to back out, and that's what caused Saya to be DMIA. We're not 100% sure what happened there, and they still never told us what really happened there. So he's going into a realm he doesn't know, and just kind of hope it all goes well, and that he can use that primordial realm in order to summon the DMIAs there. The one he mainly wants, Saya, the Black Agumon, but also the one that Eiji is concerned about, which is Pulsemon and Leon. But he states that they do not need to fear that the Gatekeeper can follow them here. No other Digimon can come here besides the primordial ones. So why does he think these other Digimon that are DMIA can come here? Of course it works, but... Now, in all honesty, his plan isn't that outrageous. I mean, a couple of little things had to go right for him in order for it to actually work. Now let's go to the other person who had a bigger plan that mostly is revealed in this final chapter, but spans throughout the entire story. So, Professor Ryu Singi. He's been around forever. He's been around since chapter 2. Well, the second issue of chapter 1, I guess, is a better way to put it. But he is the one that originally gave the Linker and Lugamon to Eiji, because he knew that he was one of the keys to get to the primordial realm. Okay, this is just what Tartarus did. But then he had Eiji infiltrate the SOC to find out who Tartarus is. From everything that we saw in the cutscenes and the flashbacks and everything, why would he not know who Tartarus is? Especially because, as we learned, he modified Dorumon and gave it to him. He has to know who this guy is. If he gave him his Digimon, it seems highly unlikely he has no idea about this. He also is the one that gave Leon the Linker to become more powerful and brought him in as one of his students to also train up in order to make him more powerful, because he thought he could control Leon. But apparently not so much, because he then tricks Eiji and Leon, as he claims in chapter 4 that he, made this happen, when Eiji can only reach champion when this happened. And he keeps good track of these people. He knows this. And he's going against someone who can go to Kazuchimon. I think that's how you pronounce it. A Mega. How does he think this is going to go well? And then, when the Gatekeeper shows up, how does he at all think that Leon, the more powerful of the two, could go DMIA and not both of them? Put them in such a dangerous position. It was pure dumb luck that Eiji got out of there. I don't really know necessarily if there was a real good reason why he got out. I guess it's because Leon sacrificed himself, but I guess you could assume he's so righteous he would do that. But you're just more likely to get them both in trouble, and then you lose Lugamon.
Not a great plan.
And after all of that, in chapter 3, at the end of it, he's the one that gives Tartarus the antidote. So again, these two have been in contact. It's clear he's worked with him to make this DMIA cure. And as we later learned out, this cure does work, but it won't work on the person he wants to because she's dead. How did this world-class hacker not know this about his fiancée after 10 years or whatever has been going on? You really thought he would not figure it out? Well, you were right. He didn't figure it out. And then even once they finally do get into the primordial realm, he assumes that he can just project into there using their linkers. And sure, he can. It works. Why? How can a signal get there when everything is keeping out signals that would be going there? But again, we've never been to this realm, but we know how to make technology go into there. And then, once again, he assumes that you can summon the DMIA Digimon. He's going to use them more as, leverage to keep things under control when he does his big bad evil speech. But, again, that's a really big assumption that he can even summon them, that he can be there, that he can then remotely interface with the area to start encoding the data and to influence the Digimon to clamp them down. There's so much that people just assume that this primordial realm just works and everything else works here, no problem. And I don't know why it does. Given everything that it's stated that it keeps everything else out, nothing else should work here. And then, even though he hasn't tried at all to control Dorumon for over these 10 years, he can just assume that in this remote area, he can do it. And it works just fine. He does it, just like everything else just works. Okay. Which also makes me question how Eiji ended up summoning his Tyrannomon in such an area. But since everything else works, I guess why not this as well? And I mean, it was nice. I did like seeing the Tyrannomon using that. That was a nice little touch. But Why? Why does all of this work? And then even when he pushes Dorogurumon beyond his limits, he knows about Death X evolution. Where's that happening in the slums that they know about? How does he know that that's something that can happen? This plan just step upon step. One or two of these, okay, that's fine. But he even gives them, like, if he gave him that cure needle and it turned out to be not real, that's fine. It's a trick to get him to do what he wanted. But we find out that it actually does work on Leon. So you actually gave them the item that would help them to stop you.
Not a great plan.
You're supposed to be really smart, Professor. But there are so many things that you are just assuming works, and everything does happen to go in your favor. So, I like twists. I like things that are a little weird, but given everything that they set up, I don't know how really well it works with everything. It just seems like they're making it up as they go and just kind of hope it works. There is an epilogue coming that should, help wrap things up a little bit. That'll be coming out around DigimonCon. That will possibly help explain some more of these things. But how are they going to stop the professor in the real world? In the digital world, maybe. But given that Dorogurumon had to Death X Digivolve into this, that's really going to mess up Tartarus. Or kill him. So I have no idea if he's even alive. I'm kind of assuming he's not. So how are they going to possibly stop him and put an end to all of this in just one more issue? Or maybe it's something more. Maybe. But I kind of just have a feeling it's one more installment and then we're done. Well, what did you think of the ending? It certainly was a bit of a wild ride. After chapter 3 was so boring, I was glad it was at least exciting. There's a few too many holes in it. That I know I'm probably thinking a little too much about it, and I'm nitpicking, and it's because I care. I care about Digimon, and I want it to be good. And maybe it is some of the loose translation. Some of it could be that the machine translation was a little off. If that was the case, let me know down in the comments below that things were wrong and that the way you read it was different, because this is really something that I feel like, depending on quite how you read it and what exactly translated it, we probably got a little bit of a different story. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember, like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. As always, everyone, remember to be awesome. Till the next one,